So Daredevil Born Again wrapped up, and actually the last episode came out while I was in Vegas for the Friday Night Tights meetup. I was able to watch it there and watched it again when I got home, but didn't have a chance to do a review because, got tied up with other things. But I thought, for the sake of completeness, I'd just go over the last episode and what I thought overall of the whole attempted reboot of the fantastic Netflix Daredevil series. So this episode, called Straight to Hell, I think it was what it was called, starts off with a flashback to Vanessa meeting Bullseye in jail, saying that she wants him to kill Foggy Nelson. She gets him basically a pardon to get out of jail or the insane asylum or wherever he's at, because turns out she wants him to kill Foggy and Foggy's client, Benjamin Cafaro, because Foggy's representation would shed some light on Vanessa's criminal operations. Turns out that she's been running things through Red Hook District, which we'll learn later on turns out to be an entire free port, which means it's kind of free of, state and federal control. That ultimately explains why Fisk is so, headstrong about redeveloping the Red Hook District. Turns out that Fisk is well aware that Vanessa had Dex kill Foggy at this point, and it seems like, they kind of make up, and, after the last episode where she killed her ex-lover, things are back to normal for them and their home criminal ways, and proceeding on Kingpin's grand plan, basically to set up a whole thing in Red Hook. Of course, Matt has survived the gunshot at the hospital. We see him there in the hospital bed with his girlfriend Heather and his partner Kirsten, and he explains, that Vanessa was the one who ordered the hit on Foggy. It's pretty obvious that Heather doesn't believe any of this stuff, and she's really having doubts about Matt in general. We saw that in the last episode. She's just not very happy about the whole situation, which is fine by me because I think they make a terrible couple and hope they break up soon. Fisk decides to send Buck to the hospital to pay Matt a visit because he thinks it's better that Matt die as a martyr trying to save Fisk, and also that eliminates Daredevil. Now, here's the thing. There's this whole sweet sequence or setup where the power goes out. Fisk has Con Edison knock out the entire power to the city as part of his plan to get everyone to turn against vigilantes, since, he's just almost killed by a vigilante. And Buck goes there to kill Daredevil. Now, I really hope that Fisk told Buck, I just want you to know that Matt Murdock is not a normal lawyer. He may be blind, but he's Daredevil. That might be helpful stuff to know because he's just going in to kill a guy he just thinks is a lawyer. Regardless, Matt is able to get away beforehand. He returns to his apartment where he finds Frank Castle. Yeah, Frank Castle's been given a tip-off from a friend, turns out to be Karen Page, that Matt needs help. Around that time, Fisk's anti-vigilante task force shows up at Matt's apartment, and Matt jumps into his Daredevil gear, and he and the Punisher lay waste to a bunch of cops. Now, mind you, Matt isn't really killing the cops. He's beating the hell out of them, knocking them out. Frank, however, is just brutally killing them all. At one point, shooting a guy 2 or 3 times through the head, through a table. It's really kind of brutal, and it's not actually well done, in my opinion, because there's a lot of darkness to it. We learn along the way that this officer, Cole North, I'm certain you remember who he is, very prominent figure in this whole story.
Sarcasm. Yes.
He's the one that killed White Tiger. So that closes that part of the story. A grenade is thrown into the apartment. Matt and Frank jump out the window and manage, crash onto the ground after Matt swings them to safety. That's when Karen shows up, and they all take off back to Frank's hideout. After Karen patches up Matt, she and Matt leave and head off to a storage facility where they had all the paperwork from their prior law firm, and they find the pleadings that Foggy had drafted to win the case for his client, showing that Red Hook, where the guy was arrested or something, was not under the jurisdiction of the state or the federal government. That's, like I said, why Vanessa and Fisk are using it as a base of operations, so it can basically launder money and, engage in all sorts of criminal enterprises without being charged as criminals. While this is going on, the city's in complete chaos because Fisk has turned out the power to everything. So you have, riots and looting and everything. The police commissioner is going to head off to Albany to explain to the governor what's going on, what his concerns are about Fisk. But unfortunately, he confided in Fisk's chief of staff. I think her name was Sheila, and she ratted Gallo out to Fisk. Gallo is brought to Fisk along with a bunch of other dirty cops and basically explains to Gallo that he's in charge and shows it by literally crushing his head. Yeah. Literally with just his bare hands, smushing his head in one of the most graphic things I've actually seen on D+ ever. It's kind of really gruesome, more so than Netflix Daredevil. So now he's there with his, bloody hands and telling all the other corrupt cops.
Any questions? Good.
I'll tell you the thing I don't get about this whole Kingpin crushing Gallo's head scene is all the cops are just standing around there like, okay. I mean, yeah, they're dirty cops, but this is outright murder for no reason. I mean, yeah, maybe the commissioner didn't go to bat for them as much on pensions or pay raises as they thought they should have, but legitimately, these are not cops. These are dirty cops even. These are criminals. I mean, flat out criminals just condoning murder. It's actually too unbelievable for the show. So that's kind of where we are. That's kind of where we are. So, also Frank, of course, gets captured. He gets captured by the cops while he's out and about. That his fanboys, want him to join them, but they're all corrupt cops, and Frank's not into that. So he gets taken prisoner as a vigilante, which I guess is what the ultimate storyline for this whole new direction is going to be, the elimination of vigilantes. The next day, Fisk enacts his, I forget the name of the act, but it's basically his anti-vigilante act.
Effective immediately. All vigilante activity is illegal.
Vigilanteism was always illegal. So if he's making vigilanteism illegal, does that mean he's making it legal? Is that too many negatives make it positive? I don't know. It's stupid. I'm not even certain what the purpose of this whole storyline is, but he has somehow also put martial law over the entire city. Ability that the mayor of New York does not have the ability to do. Maybe the governor does. Maybe the federal government does, but sure as heck the mayor does not. So now Kingpin City. Yeah, Kingpin's now has control. His anti-vigilante task force is out on the street. They look like jackbooted, soldiers. There's a curfew at 8 o'clock, which is kind of going to kill the business in the city, honestly. And Matt decides he gets his his courage back, so to speak. And it's time to be Daredevil again, really be Daredevil again. It's time to stand up, and he forms a resistance army. Yeah, this resistance army is consisting of, at the end of this episode, basically himself, Karen, Josie, Cherry, that woman cop, I forget her name, who was the one during the negotiation episode with Kamala Khan's dad, and they're going to stand up and resist Kingpin. Frank, of course, has been taken into custody, but in the post-credit scenes, we see that he basically gets out of jail, whatever makeshift jail the Kingpin has put together to hold all these vigilantes. Pretty much could be anyone who opposes him, I think, and that sets off season 2. So yeah, that's it. It's a real confusing storyline. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact of the reboot throughout two-thirds of the way through this whole story. It's a schizophrenic show. It's a completely schizophrenic show. It is. The last 2 episodes try to be like the Netflix version. It's just missing the mark. There's this, there's almost feels like it's violence just for violence sake. The whole fight in Matt's apartment, there's a lot of slow motion. Frank is screaming a lot like, I don't know what this is. I don't remember this as the Punisher in the Daredevil series or even his own series, where he's just mindlessly screaming like this when he was attacking people. Matt screams a lot too. I guess this is what they think makes them vigilantes or just really violent people. I guess this is Disney Plus's take on the characters. Regardless, I'm ultimately not angry about this whole thing. I'm just really disappointed. When I heard they were changing direction on the show, I took that as a positive. I'm not certain now. the whole idea of this anti-vigilanteism thing is out of nowhere, considering they literally live in the MCU where vigilantes saved the universe and defeated Thanos. So I know in the comics, Spider-Man is considered a vigilante, but here he's also an Avenger. I think he's still an Avenger in the comics. I don't know. I don't even follow him anymore. But yeah, so what's Kingpin's motivation for going after vigilantes? I don't know. Just to impose martial law on Kingpin City, I guess. Yeah, like I say, man, it's just disappointing. Maybe they cobble together something for the next season. Maybe it's a little bit better. I mean, I like seeing some of the photographs coming out already. I like seeing the Daredevil black outfit with the DD symbol on it. Honestly, just seeing that's a little geeky. That's cool, just, for the comic book sake. But I don't know how it's going to work. This whole season was a mess. It was a letdown. It was a disappointment. And, give props to Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio for playing the characters. I think they played well, their characters, with what they were given. I just think there weren't good writers who had a solid grasp on the characters themselves or what the story would be. So yeah, that's it for Daredevil Born Again. We'll see what happens next year when it comes out. But overall, like I say, not mad, just disappointed. Questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click all the good buttons. See you guys next time.